One of the things I mentioned before about ownership of having a Ferrari, we were actually heading on a holiday to Italy and mentioned to Ferrari Gold Coast that we were going over for a holiday. They said, well, hang on, as an owner, you're allowed to go and do a factory tour. So we took them up, rejigged our itinerary a little bit to end up in Modena for 2 days. So we went to the two museums, Modena and Maranello, and then we had a 3-hour factory tour in Maranello as well, which was absolutely fantastic. Hi there, my name's Clint. I'm the owner of a Ferrari 360 Spider, 2003 model. So the one behind me now is 18 years old. I first saw these cars at the Brisbane Motor Show back in 2000. There was a 360 and a 599 beside each other. And I've always been a fan of the Ferrari brand, Ferrari itself, Formula One racing. I've been a bit of a follower of that. Fortunately, they're not on in the daytime, the races very much, but you've got to live with that. And I was talking to my wife, following Ferraris online, and asked my wife, just testing the waters, and I was surprised when she came back and said yes, it'd be okay to go and buy a car. So we jumped online, started to have a look at them. They were selling really quickly, so by the time we found a car and then arranged a visit, they were already sold. I was sitting at the airport for work one day. This car came up, and within a minute or two I'd called the owner, put a deposit on, and arranged for a trip up to Cairns to go and have a look at it. I was very happy when I got up there that the car itself was sitting in its own cocoon. It had been driven very few miles since they owned it, and well looked after. So we picked the car up from Cairns, had it shipped back to the Gold Coast here, and then put it through the Ferrari Gold Coast for a service, and everything came up nicely. So it came with service history and everything, so it all checked out. And as far as servicing stuff goes for the 360s, I'm an engineer, so I do the minor stuff, the oils, a couple of ball joints here and there when they've popped up. But in terms of major servicing, it's a good idea to get it back through the dealer just to get someone else to go through it, and do cam belts. So cam belts every 3 years are due on these cars. With the 360, it's not an engine out service, so they can do the cam belts through the front seat, so that keeps the cost down a little bit. With the current car that you see at the moment, the extras on it are a tubey exhaust and has a carbon engine bay insert in it, which makes it look a lot nicer. The tubey itself has a good note around 2,000 to 3,000 revs, which is good for driving around town, has a good sound. And then it quietens off a little bit, and then up around the 6,000 to 7,000 revs, it gets another little loud bark to it. One of the things we've found, or I guess the unexpected things with Ferrari ownership, is the clubs. So we joined the Ferrari club, and there's a heap of nice people in the club itself, and there's a big range of different cars from the older version Ferraris to the new ones, and it's quite social, and they do like their drive days. I didn't buy the car just to park it up, we bought it to take it out, have some fun. And also Ferrari Gold Coast here once a month do drive days as well. So between those two, the club and the dealer, there's always plenty of things to do, and the local car meet down here at Cars and Coffee, there's always something to do with the car. We're pretty fortunate where we live here at the Gold Coast in the hinterland. There's lots of mountainous areas. And you can drive from the Rang or Hinge Dam area all the way down to northern New South Wales through the hills. There's lots of coffee shops down in that area as well. So they're a good sort of 2 to 3 hour drive down and back, and you have a lot of fun in the car. It's a 2-seater, so there's always a fight with having the girls about who's going to take it or who's going to come with me. And oddly enough, my wife's never driven the car because she's too afraid of rim rash. And I did forget to mention it is a manual as well. So. In that range, the manuals are quite rare for the 360s, and I'm glad it picked up a manual because it's that little bit more exciting to drive. One of the things I mentioned before about ownership of having a Ferrari, we were actually heading on a holiday to Italy and mentioned to Ferrari Gold Coast that we were going up for a holiday. They said, well, hang on, as an owner, you're allowed to go and do a factory tour. So we took them up, rejigged our itinerary a little bit to end up in Modena for 2 days. So we went to the 2 museums, Modena and Maranello, and then we had a 3-hour factory tour in Maranello as well, which was absolutely fantastic. The workshop itself, we got to see the V8 build section. There's a V8 down the bottom, V12's up the top. Go through the engine construction area. The factory itself is absolutely spotless. It's an amazing place to go and have a look at. Once the factory tour's done, you then end up at the racetrack, which is part of the facility as well. And they had the FXX cars there as well, which was pretty amazing. So it was a special day, and when we finished the tour, it ended up being probably one of the highlights of our Italy tour for the whole family. All 4 of us went for a tour through there. And it was just the 4 of us and 2 other people from Melbourne. So we had pretty much the place to ourselves. So it was a fantastic day. And again, one of the good things about being a Ferrari owner that you don't expect.